Good morning, beautiful people of the Center for Spiritual Living. As you heard this morning, we are starting a new focus this month, journaling as a spiritual practice. And I was so happy to hear that we were going to be listening to the song Across the Universe because it is so relevant to the topic, actually. And I want to tell you a little bit about the song itself. It was conceived on one night in 1967 when the phrase, "words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup," came to John Lennon after he had been witnessing his wife going on and on and on about something at the time. Actually, that's how it happened. He was just listening to her and thinking, my gosh, it's like endless rain. And that was Cynthia Powell at the time. And even as I'm telling you this, I was thinking to myself, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, the Beatles. There are young people in my life who don't even know who those people are. You know. So it's all right if you don't know who that is. I said to one of my young friends, you can Google it. It's a thing. And I mentioned that because that's going to show up a little bit later in this topic about journaling, because journaling as a spiritual practice is being your own detective and looking for the gems and the meaning and what is valuable and important. So in John Lennon's own words, he said, I was lying next to my first wife in bed, and I was irritated, and I was thinking, she must have been going on and on about something, and she had gone to sleep, and I kept hearing those words over and over, flowing like endless stream. So I went downstairs, and I turned it into a sort of cosmic song, rather than an irritated song. Rather than write a song that could go about something like, why are you always mouthing off at me? Instead, he took the experience and he turned it into something powerful. And that's one of the gifts that journaling can bring to us, the power to take something and change our experience of it using the creative power of our mind. And the way he talks about it is when he went downstairs, he said it was like being the recipient of the lyrics. Those are my words. He said something more like, I didn't own it, but I was called to it. I channeled it. It was a very powerful creative experience for him. And the lyrics that he produced are so relevant to our theme. Oh, by the way, before I carry on with the lyrics, I want to invite you to come out on Wednesday evening, which is our first Wednesday evening service. And some of you know it's a tradition now, where we launch our spiritual practice of the month. And what we do at that meeting on First Wednesdays is that we hand out a free spiritual resource booklet to help you have similar experiences of being engaged in your spiritual practice. Journaling as a spiritual practice has been prepared, and everyone who comes to the Wednesday evening service will receive one free of charge. As usual, you can download it from our website for free, www.cslsr.org, under the section entitled Files for You, and you can even give that link to friends and relatives all over the country. It's completely free, and if you want to get your own copy but you can't make it to the Wednesday evening service, we'll have them available at the bookstore as well, starting on next Sunday. Now, at the Wednesday service, we're going to be talking about the different methods of journaling, different prompts to encourage you. This little booklet is filled up with prompts to encourage you to write and discover for yourself what's inside there. There are articles about journaling, different ways to journal. It's a beautiful little booklet, and I'm also going to be talking about electronic forms of journaling too. So there's a rich month coming up. I invite you to make a permanent date with me and Christopher Fricci, who will lead us in singing, and I'll be leading you in prayer. Every first Wednesday, come out and hang out with us, and it'll be a way of really solidifying this annual practice theme that we're engaged in. Now let me get back to the lyrics of the song today. Here's how it starts. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. Right there you have an accurate description of the nature of mind. Right there. That's describing the nature of mind is that the speed of thought is flowing endlessly. And not only is it endless, there's a lot of it. If you come to a center like this, then you hear that phrase, oh, you can change your life by simply changing your mind. Well, if you can hold on to it, just change your thinking. If you can grab one, grab a thought, grab a thinking if you can. See if you can change it. I mean, how can you when it's flowing like a deluge, like rain, it's coming? And what does endless mean? It doesn't stop ever. There you have an accurate description of divinity. That's what we say in our tradition. Divinity, the thing itself, is endless, everywhere present, all of the time, unlimited. And you and I, we say, happen to be in the middle of that. Our minds are centers of divine activity within the cosmic reality. And there we stand in it with a paper cup. Endless rain, what a beautiful image. It describes divinity, generous, never withholding. And rain is life-giving, endless, eternal. But the paper cup, it's inadequate to contain any part of it because it's constantly being overflowed and replaced, and there's more and there's more. Try change anything. Then the lyrics go on to describe thought even more for us. It says, they slither. They slither as they pass. They slip away into the universe, across the universe. Yeah, that's thought. That's exactly how thought is. My cat, Andrew, he and we're not on good terms right now. We're not communicating well. He's on diet, and so he's demonstrating his dissatisfaction, and what he does is he brings lizards into the house. Now, he doesn't eat them, he just delivers them, and he drops them. And, he drops them on the hardwood floor. And the lizards are not well suited for navigating on the hardwood, and they walk like, they slither. And so it makes it impossible to catch them. And then when you do, they're out, they're gone. Thought. That's thought. That's what thought is like. Grab it, hold it. No, even our founder, Ernest Holmes, when he started teaching this stuff, he said what we do is we hold a thought. When you want to bring something into manifestation, you hold a thought. And then he realized that that's an erroneous idea. He evolved. And he wrote in the preface of one of his books, we used to teach that you hold a thought. We don't anymore. You can't hold a thought. The best thing you can do is become aware of your thought and then check if it's accurate before you decide to follow it. Investigate your thought. See, should I believe it? That's a whole different thing. And how do you do it? If you can't hold it down, when it's slithering and slipping away and passing, where does it pass to? To exactly where it came from, the universe. It's endlessly present everywhere, just except not in my mind because it's gone. See, and that's one of the things we learn, that your memory and my memory is a poor servant to the good ideas that pass through our mind. They go on. So how are we to examine anything? Well, we have to slow what's going on in there down to the speed of right. It's a play on words. Right, and that's the subtitle of the journal, slowing down to the speed of right, because when you and I remember that spiritual practice cannot be done in a hurry, we stand a chance. When we don't rush, something happens. precision becomes available to us. You know, there is a quote on I think it's the East Corridor between the windows in the Library of Congress, where there are quotes from Francis Bacon's essays. And I'm going to adapt the language because it's archaic language. I'm going to read it to be suitable for today's message by making it gender neutral and contemporary, but the message is the same. Reading makes a full person. Conversation, debate makes a ready person. And writing makes an exact person. Why? Well, in particular, writing by hand, because it is slow to perform, and it has this marvelous effect, this infinite organizing effect of taking this cosmic swirl of possibility and filtering it down through my hand onto the page, perfecting my focus, organizing it by capturing snippets of the vastness on a page where it's frozen in time and space, so that you and I finally have the possibility of looking at it. Is it real? Is it true? And if writing by hand is not a possibility, there are other ways to slow down, whether it is by typing it or speaking it into a recording device or getting somebody else to write it, but slowing down the speed of thinking. I have found such benefit in creating space between the fastness of information that floods through my thoughts, because it's allowed me to truly look inside. What's going on in there? What is going on in there? Because you see, my tendency has been to let myself off the hook easily. Just live. Just go with the flow. Just be in the deluge. You'll figure it out, I used to tell myself. Just go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and see if I can base my life on what is constantly being replaced in the paper cup. That sounds like living awake. No, I'm finding out that actually spiritual living is a call to stand in the flow of cosmic information, but say, I'm going to spend some time in there. I'm going to really take a look to see if what I am following in my thinking is worthy, is accurate, and journaling is a vehicle for getting there. Sometimes when something goes wrong with a computer, with PCs and Macintoshes, by the way, when that problem happens, the clues for what is wrong is contained in whatever is in the memory of the computer at the moment of the problem. In the random access memory, which is a volatile environment of information rushing around, very much like the cosmos. And so in order to analyze it, the memory has to be dumped. In other words, a snapshot. The memory has to be saved in a graphic, fixed version so that the analysts, the technicians, can look at it and analyze it in an unrushed way to understand what caused the problem. Journaling can be like that. You can think of journaling as a mind dump. And so when it comes out and flows through, it might be messy, and what comes out and lands on the pages might very well contain the information for why things crashed. Journaling gives me an opportunity to take a deeper, mindful look into my life. Because I want to let myself off the hook. I don't want to go below the surface and look into the details, which brings me to the Google search. I was with some young people, and one of them mentioned something that I wasn't aware of, just like they weren't aware of the Beatles. And so my young friend said to me, "You can Google it, it's a thing." And I thought about that as a way of life. You know what? Sometimes in life, the real answer is not on the first page of the search results. And if it is, it may be that the search results were manipulated. You can't depend on the first 10 things that show up on the search results. You know that. And if it shows up in Wikipedia, it doesn't mean it's true. The article may not have been vetted yet. You see, I must tell myself not to be satisfied with surface meaning and surface definitions. And that is why I cherish journaling. It's one of the things that is very valuable to me, is that I can go back to what has been dumped into my journals. And I can go back and take several highlighters of different colors and read through them, looking for themes that reoccur, and highlight them. But don't you know we have themes? They reveal themselves in the writing of our journal, or words that I use over and over again, highlight them. That's how I discovered my overuse of the word hate. Yeah, it was all through the writing. I eliminated my use of it. So you look, ideas that pop up over, and then you have the opportunity to really consider them. What is this? Maybe it's the prompting of my intuitive voice and deserves to be listened to. You know, our founder said, intuition is divinity in humankind, and maybe I should listen. On the other hand, maybe it's my hidden belief revealing itself to me. And you know what a hidden belief is? It's a belief that is running you, but you don't know because it's below the surface and you're looking at what's in the paper cup. That's why I love journaling. Makes me a little more precise about who I think I am. So how do you change your thinking? Well, perhaps by beginning to look at it. See if you can see it for what it is, and then examine it for its accuracy. And see, my experience is when an erroneous thought becomes apparent, like through journaling, and I look at it, not with force, it's just under the gaze of inquiry, it changes by itself. And when things change like that, and when a concept dies that you've believed in, you have this rush of openness that is exquisite, which he captures in the next part of the lyrics. He says, pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. So you discover the allness, the possibility, and you have that ecstatic experience captured in the next line, which is the bridge between each of the verses, Jai Guru Deva Om, which for our purposes we might say could be rendered glory to divinity. Or it's something that is captured in the opening lines of that famous song, O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hand hath made. That. Now I don't know that I can guarantee that your practice of journaling will deliver ecstatic visions, experiences right away. But I think I can guarantee that it will help fulfill the experience that we sang about in the opening song, the lyrics of which say, I listen to the part of me that knows. And I think it will also make this affirmation that we're going to say every week this month a little more real. Within me is an infinity of ideas and possibilities. I reflect mindfully on what to express and what to let be. I take responsibility for what I bring forth in the world. Now, when I speak with you again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the recommended book of the month, Writing as a Spiritual Path, which is a practical guide to writing with passion and purpose because of the beauty and mindfulness with which this book has been written and how easily it can be read as a spiritual manual, although it is written for writers. It says in here many things that we have heard before in our previous months from previous authors about previous spiritual practices. And you can insert the practice that you're currently engaged with, whether that is prayer, selfless service, meditation, gratitude, or today writing. She writes about how the thing that we do for our spiritual life, the practice, is not only what we do, but indeed, It's who we are. It's what we are. We are our practice, and we are called to it because we cannot conceive of living without it once we find it. She says, when you write regularly, it becomes such a fundamental part of the way that you live that you cannot conceive of your life without it. At some point, you discover you are unable to separate yourself from the act of writing or prayer or selfless service. You insert the one. Or think about yourself other than as a writer. The novelist and short story writer William Goyen described it as a way to observe the world and move through life among human beings. When you are called, writing is more than something you do. It is who and what you are. What I love about the book is that she approaches it with such a freedom for you and I to discover the path that is right for us, and we like that. No one size fits all, not when it comes to prayer, not when it comes to believing, certainly not when it comes to journaling. You might keep a journal to keep a record of your prayers. You might keep a journal just to record events that happened to you during the day. You might keep a journal to reflect on feelings and thoughts that pass through your mind. You might, who knows what you will do it for. And we'll explore some of those possibilities on Wednesday at the first Wednesday service. So I invite you now to take a moment with me to pray. There is only one life, and that life is divinity expressing itself full and rich and endlessly and uninhibitedly, with generosity, powerfully, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, rich and full and overflowing. And today, by means of this prayer, we are remembering that we are established in that cosmic expression, that organized, perfect, right action, that endless possibility. Our minds are centers of divine activity within that. And so it is from that identity that we can say in the silence of our minds with conviction, within me is an infinity of ideas. Within me is an infinity of possibilities. And I reflect mindfully on what to express and what to let be, and I take responsibility for what I bring forth into the world. And establishing ourselves in this, then, we feel the expansiveness, the opening up to the more that the universe is. So what love we have is amplified into great compassion. To what service calling there is in us is amplified into a terrific sense of helping and contributing to the world. So what love there is, what love there is, what love there is, rises up. It directs, informs, guides, and expresses through us. And we are becoming in every moment clearer and clearer and clearer on how to be a channel, a mindful, awake, conscious channel of the love of the universe. Celebrating this with gladness, we release this word of prayer into that aspect of the universe that we call the law of mind, and we let it be, and together we say, and so it is.